Hi. Can everyone see me and hear me now? You'll never guess what happened. I've been talking to myself for about 10 minutes. And no one could hear it, I don't think, because I forgot one minor detail, which was to actually go live on YouTube. So that's the kind of professionalism that you can expect here on this channel. So yeah, sorry about that, guys. Now I'm just going to say everything I just said verbatim, including all of the rambling that I did the first time. I'm just going to keep it all in. Uh, what's up, everybody? I was wondering why no one was responding. I was like, man, no one wants to talk to me anymore. Sorry about that. Hello, everyone. Mark, Patty, Fedor. Am I pronouncing that correctly? I know you've been here a long time, and I should learn to pronounce your name. Nanoside? Nanoside? I almost said nanocycle, which is a different kind of cycle. There's a unicycle and a nanocycle. I don't know how many wheels that has. What's up, everybody? Stuff does happen, Mark. It really does. To me, more than most, I feel. But, you know, what can you say? All you can do is live and learn and laugh and love and other cliches as well. Greetings from Germany. So Patty, this actually works out better for you that I'm streaming in the middle of the day, right? Because it is in fact not the middle of the day where you are. So that's cool. Might get a few more people across the pond, as we like to say. All right. Thanks for being here, everybody. I am looking at Organteq, as you can see right here. I'm looking at Organteq 2, which I've linked. I think I linked in the description their website. If I didn't, oops. In fact, I can just drop that in the chat real quick in case I did not. But yeah, awesome physical modeling software. You may know of Pianoteq, which is a bit more well known, I think. There you go. There's their website. And I'll be sure to link it in the description after the video, after the live stream. But yeah, I've been really impressed. The only thing I've done is installed it, opened it, and played a few notes, played a few of the presets, which, by the way, can you hear that? Okay, give me a thumbs up. It's funny because my first clue last time was that no one responded at all when I asked for a thumbs up or, you know, some indication in the chat if you could hear me. And that's because you couldn't. So, all right. So if everyone can hear that, yeah, it does sound really good. And what I'm interested in, not so much, as many of you know, I am an organist and I play a real organ every week. That is, in fact, my full-time gig is church organist. So I'm less interested maybe in the sort of typical organ sounds than I am being able to modulate and kind of change up the parameters. Sorry, my voice is shot from talking before you guys were actually here because I wasn't live. So I'm less interested in the traditional sounds, even though I am going to play around with some of those just out of curiosity today. I'm more interested in how can I make this do things that my organ cannot, because alas, I cannot go in and, you know, change the shape of pipes and things. If I did that, I think the church would frown upon it and I would owe them hundreds of thousands of dollars. So I'm not going to do that. All right, the micro tuning, and we'll get into more questions as we go along, so be sure to drop them in the chat, and I'll try to catch as many as I can. Micro tuning features, yes, it has not only a lot of temperament options that you can adjust across the entire organ quickly, but here's the settings tab. You can actually go in and, in fact, draw in tunings for every single pitch. And let's make it more extreme. Let's see, something like that. Yeah, so that's pretty terrible, right? But could be interesting because I think just from playing around what little bit I did, you can go to each individual stop and not only detune the entire stop individually, but you can also go in and, yep, you can go in and detune every pipe of every stop individually. So that's pretty cool. Okay, you did make it to a stream. Drinky? I like it. Drianki, maybe. I don't know. You can tell me how wrong I am. That's what the internet's good for, telling people how wrong they are. Yeah, so before I get too much into the weeds, because I have a feeling I'm going to get lost very quickly once I actually start messing around with this, I do have a channel membership now, and there is no obligation, of course, but you do get some nice perks, and in the form mainly of members-only live streams, because I want to do live streams more often. And I'm going to do members-only live streams that will be exclusive Q&As to people who support the channel. And I also would like to experiment with working on my next album, which I am about to start doing, on some of those live streams. So that would be a chance for those of you who have expressed an interest in just being a fly on the wall of kind of watching me make stuff. I'm going to be doing some of that. And I can't guarantee that the stuff that I make is going to make the album or be good, but I can guarantee that I will try to make things there. So yeah, it has been a minute since I've done a live stream, so I'm going to shut up now. And oh, you can click the join button under this live stream to see the members options if you are interested in doing that. Of course, hanging out and watching the rest of the videos is always more than enough, so I appreciate it. Okay, let's see if I can get everything back to 0 here now that I've messed up all of the tuning. Is there a way just to clear all? No. Okay. Reset. That would be it, wouldn't it? Yeah, we're going to be learning this together today. Okay, so I'm just going to play some of these presets. There are no stops activated because I hit the general cancel, which basically clears all of the stops. I'll try not to make this just a straight up organ lesson today, but you know, for those that are interested. Couple questions that I'll get to before I get too far into it. Anything planned for Lost Art of Surrender, which is my kind of darker electronic synth rock type of project, for those who don't know, because I haven't done anything with it in a couple years. No immediate plans, because I would like to work on the next album that I'm going to work on is going to be kind of a follow-up to my album Signals, because I want to get back into the modular and actually set it up in a way where I actually use it more, which is going to basically mean that more knob per function and less menu divey stuff in the rack. And that's going to take precedence before I get into any Lost Art of Surrender stuff. So no immediate plans, but I will get back to it at some point eventually. Would it work to use a 88 key weighted controller and two 61 key syntax? Yeah, it would. You can actually go in and set up a split, because if you just do one keyboard simple, you have to assign which manual. This is swell, great, and choir if you're of the English persuasion, and pedal, of course. You can also do just a simple split, and that's going to give the grand org or the great here. And then you have your pedal stops, which there's nothing activated at the moment. And I don't think I can resize these windows, unfortunately, within the DAW. Maybe if you're not using it within a host, you can. I'm not sure, but unfortunately, I have not figured out a way to do that. Let's see, general, display. Oh, wait, I can. Oh, what do you know? I'm just too dumb to figure it out. Yeah, so that should hopefully help you be able to see a little better. Okay, what was I talking about? Oh, MIDI setup. So yeah, basically you can do, I think, whatever you want. Like you could have 4 keyboards here, send them all to different MIDI channels, transpose them, to whatever octave you would like. And yeah, you can set it up pretty much any way you want. Unfortunately, I just have a 61 key, just my standard MIDI controller here. I did grab an expression pedal so that I can have a little bit more dynamic control. But it's going to be a kind of simple exploration today of just the sounds. Let me take a look at the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. Yes, I can make it a larger size, and I have done that. Studied organ 20 plus years ago, but gave it up for voice. Just got into synths. Yeah, this is like a really cool intersection of things that I'm interested in, right? And you too, it sounds like. So that's cool. Okay. Yeah, I'll be sure to check him out. Guy from Net, great username. I'm not familiar with, is Ludovic, is that right? I am not familiar, but I'll check it out for sure. Okay. Sorry, if I miss some questions, just keep asking them until I see them, I guess. Or become a channel member, and then I think your comments are highlighted. Is that how advertising works? I don't know. Okay. So now I've messed up my MIDI routing. So I'm going to go back to a 1 keyboard split so that I can have the pedal down here, and these are my pedal stops, I'm assuming. Yes. It really does sound good, doesn't it? It really does. And this is the Baroque version. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of Baroque organs in general. And they have all sorts of different presets here. So this would be from the perspective of the console, which the console, if you're not familiar with organ technology, I'll try to explain a bit as we go. The console is just what you see on the UI here. It's actually, where you sit and play the thing. The organ is not the console, it's the pipes, right? The ranks of pipes, which are somewhere else. And so this would be, I'm assuming, less reverb and more like you're right there in front of the instrument. And if it's a Baroque organ, you can go in and adjust, I think I saw, yeah, noise volume, which is going to be like the clickety-clackety of the keys and the action. Okay, it also, now that I have headphones on, it's doing like a spatial thing where it's literally like you're sitting in front of the organ. And so you hear the pipes in their actual physical location. That is cool. That is pretty cool. And yeah, the attack and release sounds just like a tracker action organ would. A tracker organ, there are generally a couple of types of actions. One of them being electropneumatic, which uses magnets, and there the organ keys are not physically opening the pipe. What they do is send an electronic signal to a magnet, which opens the pipe. And that's the organ that I play, is that style. It's more modern, of course. A Baroque organ from the 1700s. Obviously, they didn't have electricity back in the day, so they would actually have to use. It almost looks like a bunch of popsicle sticks that are connected to each other that actually physically open the pipe. So that's what you're hearing clacking around like that. And tracker organs are actually more challenging to play, in my opinion, because you have to be more precise because you are actually moving the action. And also, when you couple manuals together, the action gets very heavy because it's a physical thing of you're moving then two sets of actions rather than just one. So I don't know if anyone actually cared about that, but there you go. Now you know, whether you wanted to or not. So it looks like these are all of the stops. Okay, so this row here, even on the left and the right, I'm used to like all of the great, or all of the swell and pedal being on one side, all of the choir and great and antiphonal being on the other side. So this is set up a little differently than my organ. But all of the great stops are located directly sort of parallel to the manual, which makes sense, right? And there are organs who are set up that way. So we have a more dry sound because we're from the console, right? I bet if we went to, yeah, okay, the other was cathedral. So this is like from the room. The action is not quite as pronounced. It's like you're sitting in the sanctuary or the building, right? And that's actually where the organ is meant to be heard, because the reverb and the building, the space that it's in, is actually as important as the organ itself, I think. However, there is something to be said. You know, all of the practice organs that I've ever played while I was in school were in very dry rooms, and you were like right there with the organ, so you hear every mistake that way, right? So yeah, you can hear how every articulation, like if you hold a note a little too long or make it a little too detached, you can hear all those things, whereas they kind of get lost in the room. Whatever the notes are, I forgot that fugue already. It's only been 10 years since I played it, after all. But yeah, so that's just a couple things about the spatial aspects, and obviously it sounds like the spatial differentiation of where the pipes are is tuned down just a little bit too in this from the room perspective, which makes total sense. And it's really awesome that you have control over all these things. Okay, so one thing I'm curious about, all of these have been like soft, fluty sounds. And I have a feeling what's going to be the real test for me in terms of realism is going to be the reeds and the heavier stops. Because in my experience, even the sampled instruments that I've played, it just never quite translates. It's really hard to get the attack and the release right on a reed. So I'm curious how it handles that. So let's find out. Let's go romantic. So this will be, we have, looks like different pistons. Our pistons are here. A piston is just a button that you can press and it will activate sort of like a preset, right? So you set up the combination of stops or the registration, and then whatever piston you hit, it pops straight to that, and that's really helpful when you're playing, of course. Okay, so this is pretty much the full organ. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. It has gone back to... Sorry, just kind of testing things out. Bear with me. I will get to some interesting things, I promise. It's not bad. It's not bad. I will say that problem still kind of persists for me, that the reeds, they don't speak quite in the same way as like when you're in the room with one, in my opinion. All right, let me catch some questions. If it's not Baroque, don't fix it. That's a 10 out of 10 dad joke right there. Very common for church organists to have extremely sloppy timing when they train only with a piano. Yeah, it's a different action. And also, if you only, I would say if you only ever practice in an extremely wet room or an extremely live room with a lot of reverb, you can get pretty sloppy. I'm sloppy today because I'm sitting way too low and I'm in a terrible position. So it's just going to be like that. So it's piano tech, but pipes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if we want to really boil it down. Yeah, the structure of the building is absolutely part of the instrument, totally. Nice. Am I in SoCal? No, I am not in SoCal. I am in Mississippi, which is like SoCal, except with more cows and less traffic. Okay. You work within 1 mile of Christ Cathedral and 2 miles south of Disneyland. Well, lucky you. All right. Okay, well, let's do something. So I'm going to hit General Cancel again. I'm going to stick with this romantic organ. Oh, I did want to test the string stops as well. Can I wish, one thing I will say is I wish there were a faster way. Strike one key of the hardware keyboard. Oh, okay, so you can right click. You can right click on whichever manual you want and then press a key on your keyboard. And sure enough, it assigns it to that. So I was just about to say, I wish there were a way to do it, and there was. So I'm just not going to say anything else because it's probably all user error, right? Okay. You can also route the different outputs of each manual to different outputs in your interface or whatever. So that would be really cool if you had like a surround setup. I got to say, this makes me want to get like a good organ MIDI console, because there will come a day when I don't want to be a church organist anymore. And so it would be nice to have something like this in my studio. What am I doing? There's so much, it's a little overwhelming, especially when you're, having to do everything on a tiny little keyboard like this. I wanted to, let's see, this is a celeste. So I'm testing out kind of the string sound, because that's one thing that my organ does as well as any organ I've ever heard, to be honest. I wish that there were an octave coupler. Is there not? What I mean by that is a coupler generally, like these are couplers down here. So essentially, if I go back to the great manual here, the middle manual, kind of the main manual, and notice that I have no stops activated, but if I go receipt to grand org, that's then going to take any stops that I have activated up here on the swell and bring them down to the grate. And you can see that reflected in the UI as well. So then anything I add, just combines the two. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad for a string sound. I still got to give the nod to my organ, to be honest. But it's good. It's really good. These are expression pedals, and I assume everything is enclosed if you want it to be. I think you can set all of this up. Yeah, and the expression. Oh, and you've even got like EQ, it looks like, to determine like how much of the high end it shaves off. Nice. One thing that's kind of a bummer is it doesn't respond to sustain input, which, you know, if you're playing an organ, obviously you don't have a sustain pedal anyway, so that's realistic. But while I'm trying to tweak stuff here with my tiny little MIDI controller in the studio, it would be nice if I could just clamp that down and tweak stuff. But I haven't figured out a way to do that as of so far. Oh, look, we can change the keyboard naming convention to whatever we want. So if you're used to German or French or English, I happen to be used to English, so I'm going to do that. And now it says swell, grate, and choir. Generally, organists are kind of familiar with all of the terminology because of having to play different instruments, and they're all a little different. Okay. There are some experimental presets, and I'm curious, like, what kinds of sounds. Yeah. A lot of reverb on that. Let me dial it down. Yeah, I love all of those little sort of pitch variations that we have going on, and I think we can set that up, like I said, on a per stop basis, which is really cool. We do a couple more of these experimental presets, and then I want to do some experimenting of my own. I'm at a really bad angle here. It's terrible. This is the crescendo pedal. If I increase it, it should bring on all the stops and maybe blow out our eardrums. Interesting. They have it set up to do some weird stuff. I don't know exactly what all that's doing, but you can customize the expression pedals. Oh, that's cool. Okay. There's two. I may have to do 2 or 3 streams on this, to be honest. So the tremulants are down here, and I should probably talk about that. I'm going to clear all of this out and go back to a more traditional preset. The tremulants on a real organ, it beats the air from the wind chest. In other words, there's not a steady level of air coming into the pipes, and so you get this sort of vibrato effect. Which is really nice. But the thing about a real organ is you actually have to adjust the speed of the motor manually to change that. But here, much like an LFO, we have control over the rate and amplitude. Let's see. You hear that? See, I could play right here for like the next half hour. And apparently, we can change the shape. Okay, so I'm going to start here and start doing weird stuff, okay? I'm going to bring in an LFO from Ableton. And let's see. If I can configure, can I add that as a... Okay, maybe I can't do the shape. Oh, that's a bummer. It doesn't look like it's going to let me do the shape, but I bet I can do the rate. Yep. And then I can map that to that. That is so cool. Let's do random. The reason I prefer Ableton, for those who are asking, is for this very reason right here. It's better at creative stuff than Cubase, which is my other DAW. It's better in terms of being able to quickly and easily route modulation to different parameters, as demonstrated by exactly what I'm doing. So that's why I use Ableton. I mean, it's a DAW. It's just a DAW. It's better at some things than others, just like other DAWs are better at other things than Ableton. I don't use Ableton for film scoring because it sucks at film scoring. Okay, let's see. What else can I do? I think I'm going to not do that because I can do something similar with the wind jitter within the pipe itself. Wind jitter. Detuning, I could, let's see. So I can draw in some different variations to the tuning. So that's pretty cool. Now, what if I went back and I think I can, let's see, here's a So if you don't know about these numbers that are on the stops, it's just the length of the pipe. It's the length of the lowest pipe specifically in that particular set of pipes, rank of pipes. So an 8-foot would sound in the octave that you would think that it would. A 4-foot would sound an octave above that. A 2-foot, an octave above that. And you guessed it, a 16-foot, an octave below the octave where you're playing. Any stop that has a fraction on it is called a mutation stop, and it's going to play an interval above. So that's a 5th, right? It's a bit loud. It's let's see, if I go back and add a principle, I really like that principle. I think I can reduce the volume of that mutation stop. Yes. Or I could replace it with something like maybe a Nazard, which is a little less pronounced, a little brighter. And of course I can detune it independent of the flute, the Bourdon. They can all have their individual reverb mix, all have their individual brightness, which I think is actually changing the shape of the pipe. I gotta say, I wish, in playing around with this, I wish that it were a bit more extreme. And there's also a little lag. Like, I'm sure that that's doing a lot of computer stuff behind the scenes that takes it a minute to catch up. Because as soon as I start moving it, I can see my CPU going crazy. So I'm a little nervous about modulating that, to be honest, with something like an LFO, because I'm afraid we might come crashing down, and I don't want to do that. So one of the things that I like to do on my organ is to play around with bringing stops in and out while I'm holding chords and stuff. Like, just for the type of music that I make, it's really difficult on the organ to make it expressive. And you know, with a synthesizer or something, we have all of these means of modulation, and with the organ we have very few. But this is kind of both an organ and a synth. So I would like to see if I can, let's see, let's get this out of the way. Okay, you can also right click and go to that immediately, which is good to know. I've been doing it the hard way. I think if I go configure and just tap on the stop, yes, now I have control down here, and I'm just going to assign this to there. Nice. Oh, I love that. That's cool. Yeah, that works exactly the way I've always imagined. Like, I've always wanted to be able to do this. It's like, man, if the organ, and it should be possible. I just don't think organists generally are very interested in this, you know? So this is where kind of my interest in synthesis and sound design intersecting with the organ world. I would love to get together with someone who could actually physically make this happen and introduce like LFOs and things like that to a physical instrument. Maybe one day. You know, if you join my membership, maybe one day I'll be able to afford that, after YouTube takes their cut, of course. I'm terrible at advertising, aren't I? That's so cool. And then I could, let me bring in another LFO. I wonder how fast I could make the couplers work. Let's make this a square. Yeah, I should probably tempo sync all of this so that it makes some degree of sense. Sorry, I got distracted. Got way distracted there. This is really cool. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Let's see. So first thing I want to do before I get even more distracted is set up something on the swell. That sounds like a Vox Humana. Yes, it is. Which is meant to emulate the human voice. I've never thought that it, you know, obviously nothing on the organ actually emulates very well what it's intended to emulate. But in doing that, it sort of became its own instrument. And I think that's the cool thing about it. What if I put like a soft reed, like this oboe, I believe that is. Yeah. I'm going to close the swell box. And then I want to see how quickly I can get, okay, what am I doing? Focus. I want to see how quickly I can get this coupler to react to this LFO. Wow. That's pretty nuts. Do you hear that? That's hilarious. So obviously the mechanical noise. Yeah, if I turn down the mechanical noise volume. That's hilarious. Yeah, those mechanical noises get a bit problematic when you're dealing with all of the, stop and coupler action sounds, especially if you're using them this ridiculously, which I totally am. I could, of course, bring in another LFO, because why wouldn't you do that? And let's say I believe that this is the expression for the swell, which I'm bringing in and out rather manically. So I could modulate that too. Doing something like that, some sort of nonsense. Let's wiggle that. And there it is. Map that to that. Now, I could also go in, because I'm only, let's see, I need to do the keyboard split. And so now the pedal is not affected by any of that, of course, because it's a different, completely different set of pipes. We have the 32 foot, which is, really you can just feel that if you have a good enough speaker. pedal, I'm sure you can adjust. I'm keeping an eye on my CPU up here because this can get taxing, I imagine, when you're doing this much nonsense. And obviously I could do even more nonsense by like changing the chiff amount. In fact, let's do that. Let's break it. Oh yeah, I forget I have to do this. Now I can map this to this. Oh, that's terrible. Let's get that read out of there. It feels like that's too low. Oh yeah, so transposition is set for some reason to an octave below for the manual. Okay, so cool. Now, what if we had something else play the organ besides me? Let's grab... This coupler is tripping me out over here. Let's grab a clock. And I think I should be able to route, let's see, let me go back to one keyboard simple. Well, bear with me. It may take me a minute to, okay. So what I'm thinking is, I know there's a way, it's been a minute since I've tried this, but I know there's a way to route each of these clocks to a specific note. Oh, probably turn the output on. Yeah, so right now they're just hammering away at the pedals down there. Let me get them up. Yeah. Okay, now that that's obnoxiously doing its own thing. Whoa, what just happened? We may have freaked it out. Oh no! I think it's very confused. It's like, I don't think this was what was supposed to happen to me. So we appear to be attempting to load a new instrument, but it got stuck. It's very confused. It's wondering why I'm doing this to it. It just wanted to be an organ. I may have to... I broke it. I mean, everything still works. It's just the screen will not go away. Well, how offensive. What if I close the UI and... Okay, that fixed it. It was just a UI issue. Yeah, there's so many different things that you could do here. Let's see. Oh, yeah, that's cool. That makes sense if you have like a MIDI organ set up and you won't touch screens or whatever. So you can see all the things that I'm modulating now. Slightly less, like it looks a little ridiculous here, even though I kind of like it. But yeah, you got double jam and yeah, so you could have a monitor on each side. That's cool. That's cool. This is going to make me spend way more money than I need to spend on some sort of setup for this at some point. I have no doubt. Okay. I can still hear the coupler. What was I about to do? It's overwhelming. It really is overwhelming because I'm thinking about all of the things that I could do. Getting back into some of these. Yeah, it's really not enjoying some of the stuff that I'm doing to it. I think it's on the verge of freaking out totally. And I have a pretty good system, so it takes quite a bit to stress it, but I am doing a lot of stuff that maybe wasn't really intended. But that's part of the fun, right? I keep pressing options instead of settings. I should stop that immediately. It looks like you have EQ over each. Oh yeah, you do. And apparently every time I do this now, it's going to pop up. Anytime I make a change, it's going to pop up with that. So I may have officially broken it. So many options. So many options. How are we doing on time? Let me take a look. Yeah, I can go for a little bit longer. I think some of the most interesting stuff is down here with the tremulant tremolo section. And of course you can route each stop to a different tremolo or a different expression pedal. Pretty powerful. This shows you the couplers and you can route them. So yeah, you could set up like an octave coupler here. That would basically just be like you could do great to great 16, and that would allow you to play, everything an octave below as well. Crescendo, this determines like at what point in the crescendo pedal different stops come on. And then of course this whole set of parameters that is a pipe by pipe on a pipe by pipe basis, which is pretty incredible. I can add more. Like there's a lot to choose from. We've got our mutations here. What if I added, let's see what my mixtures are. Let's try this one. It's not coming on. I think it's not coming on because I freaked it out again. Let's try this mixture. There we go. Oh, it's because I already have it. Sorry. My fault. It's here. And I can also, like, some stops on certain organs are almost unusable because they're too harsh, you know? But you can change all of that. Like, you can mix the organ. So, that's pretty awesome. I am really impressed. I am thoroughly impressed. What if we just had that do some stuff? No, I don't like that mixture. Not for this. Let's get rid of that. Is there a choir to grate? Oh, yeah. Let's put, where'd it go? There it is. Let's put that there, and then I want to assign this to that. And I can right click on it and go straight to its settings, bring the volume down. So let's get, man, I wish that would go away. It's really annoying me. I could reload everything, but then it's going to lose all of these parameters that I've assigned, so I don't want to do it. Now, what if we brought that down and brought in Pianotech? I have it listed under samplers, even though it isn't. How's everybody doing in the chat? I have not been paying attention to you at all. Yes, I am streaming. It is a shocker, I know. How are the sounds on this plugin? Do they sound natural and organic? Yes, they do, actually. Really impressively so. It should have. I should go back here. I'm sorry, I got way too in the weeds and totally lost track of all of your questions. Yeah, I mean, it has a bombard. And let's see. Here we go. So that's a passon, which is a trombone, low trombone. But yeah, it's got a lot. It really does. It does. you can set it up to output per manual, I believe. That's how it works. Where did it go? There it is. So if you go, yeah, per manual, per division. So swell, great, choir, pedal, you can send them all to different outputs if you would like to do so. Save as is and reload. Well, that would be smart and too easy, and I really don't know. Yeah, let's do that. I don't know why I haven't done that already, to be honest with you. So I'm just going to call this JNJ1, and I can rename it later. And we'll see that now the problem is, though, let me just save that as a preset as well. I'm going to lose all of the modulation stuff. So let's just see what happens. Maybe this won't crash the entire system, just trying to delete it. What I should have done, Ableton hated that. If this were Fallout 4, and we could see, yeah, it feels like Preston Garvey in Fallout 4. Ableton hated that. If you know, you know. Pulling out all of the stops with my dad jokes. Good stuff. Good stuff. Robot, you are too kind. I appreciate it. You are too kind, and it's bad for my ego, but I truly do appreciate what you say and the fact that you share my stuff on Twitter as well, because I am almost never on Twitter. And it's good that someone is. And as you can see, I have destroyed Ableton. So what we're going to do is we're just going to reload that. Although I didn't save that project in like the last hour. So that could be problematic, couldn't it? Let's recover my work. All of my hard nonsense work that I've been doing for the past hour. Okay, this would be a good time to check in on the chat. Yeah, lots of good puns today. You know, the organ, I've been told, was the first synthesizer. And that's something that if you play the organ, and synthesizers, you will hear until you're tired of hearing it. No, I don't mind. It's kind of true. Okay, did we do it? That doesn't sound like an organ. Okay, now where are my presets? How's that? Does it work? Uh-oh. What have I done? So why is that not happening? Oh, you know what? I bet it's from when I changed the output routing. Yep. Sorry about that. Looks like we've lost our mappings. A true shame. I don't know why exactly. There we go. feel like this was less annoying the first time. Our coupler noise is back. I actually thought that was rain because it's also storming outside. So if I lose power, that's what happened. Do they emulate how long it takes the bellows to pressurize? No. There has been no firing up of the blowers or bellow filling that I've heard. It would be a synth if it didn't freak out when you try to use it like one. Yeah, I think I know what you mean. You know, the organ is one of the most temperamental instruments that you'll ever run across. That's why it's so nice to have like all of these tuning options, because you can knock it out of tune just for effect to get a nice fat sound if you want it. Because if we have like a celeste pipe, if I can demonstrate this real quick. A celeste pipe basically is tuned a little sharp from the others to produce that natural beating. You hear that? So the celeste by itself is just pitched a little sharp. So to get that right, and this is one of the things that my organ does really well, the celestes are absolutely incredible. It takes a lot of work, obviously, to tune an organ. And the fact that you can just go in and change things very quickly, that would take the better part of a day, several hours, and several thousands of dollars with an organ, is really cool. It is really, really cool. So if you just joined, or if you've joined in the last little bit, I'm experimenting more with like how weird can we make this thing and do all of the things that I wish real organs could do. Like I always wanted organs with LFOs or something crazy, because I also love synthesis and sound design. So I'm not super super interested, excuse me. So I'm not super interested in just having it emulate a real organ, because I play a real organ every week. So it does do that really well though. Like it's designed to do that, but it also can do other weird stuff like spaz out if you run an LFO to the couplers, as we can see here. Okay, what I was about to do is just get this going. And then accompany it, play around a bit with some piano tech. If it'll cooperate. So I know you can morph. I haven't messed around a ton. Let me just turn that down a little bit. I haven't messed around a ton with Pianotech yet. Maybe on another stream. Yeah, it would help if I knew what I was doing. Okay, yeah, so you can morph between two different instruments. What if we did something weird like a piano and a marimba? And then, of course, we could have an LFO. Configure. Do it. I kind of wish, and I don't know if it's possible, I wish there was a way to sort of make the UI less responsive. Because I feel like that's just wasting CPU for no apparent reason, and it's also distracting. I'm sure there might be a way to do that. I don't know. I'm not going to criticize the software because I don't know how to use it yet. I mean, that is one busy stage crew right there, right? Pretty cool. Pianotech can do so much. I actually think it might be more powerful just from that morphing standpoint of being able to morph between two totally different instruments and get all of the spots in between. It's really bizarre. But anyway, yeah, I'm really impressed with Organteq. And that has been the main purpose of this stream, after all. Give it a rest. You can, of course, set it up. You can set up all of these pistons. I assume this is the set. Yeah, when set is on, then you can select your stops and save them to whatever piston you have here. And that's a per, overall preset thing, I guess. So, with each of these presets that you make, you can have your own set of pistons. They're really, really cool. Yeah, I think that's about it today. If there are any more questions about stuff, I feel like I scratched the surface. I tried to get to as much as I could, but it is so, like, there are so many possibilities that I can't get to everything today, unfortunately. I just don't have the time, which is always the problem. But I do believe, typically with like an organ sample library or something, there are some really good ones, like the Royal Albert Hall organ from James Everingham, who is a friend. He did an incredible job on that instrument, and it does do the emulation of like firing up, the bellows and all of those mechanical sounds too, because they actually sampled that, and the wind noise, which I don't think you actually get wind noise here, but you can always add your own. Wind noise is free and readily available everywhere. But there's a little hiss typically, right? With the organ, it's what makes it really difficult to record and really difficult to sample, because if you think about starting to stack samples on top of each other, you have to record it per registration rather than per stop is the best way I've found. So that all of that noise floor just doesn't build up into something that's absolutely unmanageable. But yeah, so there are some really good sampled organs, but as I mentioned, I love the fact that this is physically modeled. And not only does it sound really good if you're just using it like an organ, there are so many more possibilities to do the kind of stuff that we've done today with LFOs and all that kind of stuff. Because one of the things that, if you're familiar with the track, what's it called? Crap. Walls, I believe. Yeah, Walls from my last album, Somewhat the Same. That was all recorded at my church in layers, and I was running the organ through modular VCAs and things like that, because what I've always found really intriguing is the organ is so limited in expressivity, and ways to modulate the sound after you've played the sound, right? Because it's a steady volume level. There's no velocity sensitivity. Um, you do have, fortunately, with my organ, it's all enclosed. So the way that these pedals would work is the pipes are behind what look like shades, right? Or shutters, which open and close when you open and close these pedals. And my organ is fully enclosed, which gives it more expression than a typical organ where only maybe one or two divisions are enclosed, or no divisions in some Baroque organs. But you're still really limited. Like it's a difficult, it's romanticized, the organ, a lot, I think, and it's so intriguing because it's a building basically that can play this huge, enormous sound and make this wide variety of colors in terms of between the stops themselves. But it's actually a really not non-expressive instrument. It's really hard to make it sound good. Um, so what's always intrigued me about bringing it into the kind of music that I'm making today is, well, what if we ran it through filters, or what if we ran it through things where it could shape the sound after, you have the pure sound of the organ, but then you can shape it with modern tools. And so I have experimented with running it through the modular and everything, and always enjoy running it through VCAs and filters and things like that. But now you can do that with this, and it's available for everybody, which is really cool. So yeah, this is not a sponsored stream, by the way. They did send this to me, and I don't, as you know, I don't do sponsored stuff anymore, because I enjoy doing other things on the channel, and making courses and things that are mine, and that I know because I made them. So I'm just not interested in doing reviews, but something like this is such a direct intersection of all of my interest that I just could not resist. And by the way, Cameron, Venus Theory, as some of you may know, I think put these people in contact with me because he knew them from working with Pianotech quite a lot. And so yeah, thanks to Cameron for making the connection. All right, let's see. Yeah, yeah, I feel you, Gizzy. I'm weird in that I just want good sounds, but don't care or need, authenticity of the emulation. Yeah, if I want the authentic thing, I realize it's a unique position, but I'll just go record it, you know? Um, Not everyone can do that though, so if you do want a good organ sound, it does sound good. Does this do pitch bend? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? No. um, and I have a hard time envisioning that sounding very good anyway. I'm not a big pitch bend guy, even with synths. Can you put the piano and organ through the same room and verb? Obviously, you can do that within your DAW if you run them through the same send, but I don't think. Well, what you could do, I believe you can import your own impulse responses into both of the reverbs. And that's one thing I was going to mention about Organteq before we go is the only effect that is actually part of the plugin is reverb, which again leads me to believe that they intend it to be more of a direct organ emulation, obviously with all of these customizable features. But there's no like more, or at least I haven't found them. There are no other like distortions and things like that like you have in Pianotech to kind of get more into sound design within the plugin itself. So that's another reason I like Ableton, because I can modulate all of these things very easily in Ableton. Let's see, let me scroll back and see if there's anything else that I missed. Let's see. It looks like I'm pretty well caught up, so I think I'm about to call it, ladies and gentlemen. Couple reminders, if you have stuck around this far, I hope you enjoyed hanging out. I am going to be doing more live streams in general for everybody, but in particular, I'm going to be doing regular live streams for members, and you can join the channel by hitting the little join button, and then you can look and see more information about that. There should be a join button under this live stream, under the video, and there should also be the join button at the top of my YouTube profile page, whatever that's called. So if you would like to support the channel and see me actually kind of get stuck in writing music, I'm going to be writing and exploring more modular for my next album. So that'll be a chance to be kind of a fly on the wall. And if you have questions, I'll try to get to them. It'll be a smaller group, obviously, so I'll be able to get to all the questions, hopefully. Yeah, I agree. It kind of calls for another session with Organteq and external effects and whatnot. Yeah, totally. Might have to do another stream and actually try to make something with it, because today was just all about sort of messing around with it and seeing what the possibilities are, and I'm really impressed, really impressed. Okay, so I don't know when that'll be. I will do a members only live stream next week. Probably will be at least another week after that before I do another full live stream. But yeah, if you would like to join, you may do so. If not, thank you for hanging out. Also, do I have anything else to plug? Just my newsletter, which goes out every Saturday, and I've really been enjoying exploring topics in the newsletter every week. Maybe topics that I wouldn't necessarily make a video about. Some of them become videos later, but this last week's video actually started out as a newsletter article. You can find that on my website. Just go to jamesonnathanjones.com and click the little join newsletter icon. It's like the biggest button at the top. So those would be my only suggestions. You can join the membership, the channel membership, if you would like to support the channel and watch members only live streams, and you can join the newsletter if you would like a free little musing of whatever I happen to be thinking about that week. Every Saturday those go out, so new one going out tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. This has been a lot of fun, and again, I've just scratched the surface here, but lots of possibilities. Maybe next time I'll actually come in with a game plan now that I know kind of what the possibilities are and the limitations are. So yeah, cool stuff. Have a good day, everybody. I'm glad you were able to join in the middle of the day or whatever time of day it is for you. I have to go now and work on something else. So I'll see you guys later. Bye.